and I sent you the link on the messenger. Is that okay?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So yeah, I sent you the link on messenger.
You haven't sent it, right?
Not yet. Here.
Ah.
I am sending right now. So if you want to share. Okay. There we are. Yeah, I need to set up the live for Facebook as well. I'm more like used to YouTube because it's somewhere that I started my spirituality. So yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries, take your time. And yes, if there's anyone watching, hi, this is Paige, and we have Monica with us. And Monica is, I saw that you are a healer, that you're a healer who are encouraging others to take responsibility onto themselves to heal their life, which I'm recently started on this journey, and I am so grateful to have you in this space to chat with us more about this. It's amazing. So yeah, Monica, if you don't mind, please share a bit more about your work and what you do, who you are.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me. Yes. I gave my guides gave me my name that's called Warrior of Love. At the beginning, it was hard to fit in, but now I'm understanding everything happened for a reason. And I am a transformational belief coach. And that's the title I gave to myself, trying to define what I do, because I do too many things. I am a neuro-linguistic programmer. I'm a BQH. I am a Reiki master, multidimensional energy healer, channeler, artist, and a woman. So it was easy to resume into those words, a transformational belief coach.
Yes, I can see that and love that. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I am looking at your website that you mentioned how you are helping others. Like I see some of the review as well that you're helping others to change their life with all the gifts that you have. It's just so beautiful, and I really want to like get to know more. And yeah, like how do you do that apart from I believe you're guiding them to do that. But yeah, if you want to give more details.
Yes, I was first, when I started studying NLP and Reiki Master and so forth, it was to heal myself. That's how I started this healing, and I truly believe now that if I didn't went through everything that I went through, I would not be the person who I am. And I was very sick. I have lupus, RA, fibromyalgia, depression, but depression, the terrible one. And to heal myself, I was needing to believe again in myself and in life, and start falling in love with myself. So that's when I did a change. Something I did a time jumping, and my life immediately started changing right away. I started getting better and better. I stopped taking all the medications because I was not needing it. My flare-ups just completely disappeared, and my life really changed. And then I started analyzing, how do I did that? If I wanted to recreate that, I was needing to learn how I create that. That's why I took all the certifications and so forth, because I wanted to understand how from a night to the day, my life have changed and I have healed myself. So that's why I went into all this. And then I discovered that there was more to heal. Even if my body physically was healing, my spirit, my mind, my all the programs. I was needing to remove them and continue the work. And when it's going to end, I really don't know. No. Why? Because if I always say, if I'm not illuminated, because if I was already illuminated, I want to be here. Probably I already done my job. But in the way that I'm growing and changing and transforming my life, I created a system that I teach people how to create, how to they can change their lives. Yes, I do private practice. I'm doing it less and less. I only right now doing it with my VIPs because they have to go hand by hand. A healer, I truly believe that healers in the world, we can heal. We don't have a magic swan that everybody asked me for that, and I'm like, looking for it and I haven't found it yet. If someone has, let me know where it is. What we are basically, we're coaching and training people. We take the pain, the max pain that they have in that moment, we help them center, and we are guiding them so they can transform their lives. And basically that's how I see my job. I'm just a guide. I don't even remove the word healer, because healer, like, I'm not healing anyone. I'm just guiding them how to they can heal themselves. Or else I was Reiki master and I thought I was healing people, but it's going back to the same pain if they're not doing their own work. And everything started for self-love and believing in themselves. When they start loving themselves, they start believing in themselves, and they can become whatever they want. So and I've been helping artists for long time. I had art galleries. I used to manage artists. I'm an artist myself, and I went through that process. So I came to understand, I've been helping artists to believe in themselves. That's the creative people, that they're musicians, painters, poets, actors, so forth, so they can believe in themselves. So then I can help what happened if I start helping people that are not artists. And I start doing that. And I start realizing that I'm bringing in them also the creativity that the whole human beings needed. And not necessarily to paint, it's just to create their lives.
I love this. I love what you're doing, and I love how you are, defining how healers, even though you are healer, you're not necessarily helping to heal other people, because that is one of the recent realization that I came to as well, because I have also been on Reiki journey, and I have for a long time believed that I can heal another person. But healing another person, what I'm seeing it now is like we are taking their pain away and carry it on ourselves. But at the same time, if they are still in the same situation, they're still in the same mindset, they will recreate the same pain in their own life, like no matter how much we take from them.
And not only that, we take the power away, because if we make them believe that we are healing them, and like, oh, you heal me, then they're going to go back easier to whatever they were doing, and they're going to need a session the next week and the next week and forever. And so on. So in a way, yes, that's why I tell them I don't have the magic wand. I showed you the way. I can basically clean you up, dust you off, and here's what you have to do. But you have to do it, because or else I can change whatever you're doing. You're going to feel great for a few days, maybe a month, maybe a few months, but then you're going to go back.
Exactly. To me, it strike me like people are seeking for healer to heal them. It's like, when we say we go to a doctor and ask them for medication, and the medication might work for a few days, a few months, take away the pain and everything. But once the medication run out, there we are. We're still in the same place, because there is a root cause, I guess. Yes.
And if we're talking about bypassing pain, that's the best way to bypass it. Someone else is doing the job for you for a while, but then it comes back.
Exactly. I love this. I love how you're doing it, and I love how you're inspiring artists to, be more creative and be more themselves. Because I also believe that eventually when we are healing, we are actually being more ourselves. That is what healing is. We've forgotten our own divinity, because since young we are being taught that we cannot be this, we cannot be that. Like, especially as a lady, when we are young, I think we all gone through that. Like, you can't sit this way, you can't behave this way, because you're a girl and you have to be this. And I think that strip us away of a lot of who we are as we are growing up, not just from parents, but also later on the teachers, the society, our bosses. They all keep on telling us who we should be, but no one tells us that we should be ourselves. And I love how you are inspiring others to, be yourself, especially in creative world. If you're not yourself, I don't think that that piece of artwork is truly theirs. You know what I mean?
They're buying the creativity of someone else because they're not creating it themselves. Everybody has their own tone, their own vibration, and when you create with your own signature. That's why every single brushstroke of any artist is different, because we have our own way of using the brush or the paints or the tonality or whatever. That in the way you see it as an energy is the same. It is not different. And yes, it is. I come from a Mexican culture, and we're very similar in that way. We have so many rules and regulations for women, but this is around the world. I've been trying to explain that to my daughter, teenager, that this is how it used to be. And we're changing it now, because finally women are waking up and saying no more. This is who I want to be. This is what I want to create for my life. And that is starting to change. And then the conscience on the world, I want to think of that the conscience of the world is actually going to change. Well, this is what I've been told by my guides, that the conscience of the world is starting to change because women is starting to wake up and realizing that, hey, I deserve to be someone else that beside what my parents program me, or the society or religion or whatever, who put in whatever idea they put in. And that's why I believe coaches are very important right now, because it's our job not only to be the way showers, it's also to teach people to what we have learned, how we got where we are. And there's more work to do for us, well, for everybody, but at least teach what you have learned. It's like having a tutor when your grades are going down and someone teach you how to do the math. It's basically the same thing.
It's like we are just here to show our way. I really love that. Like, we're showing our way, but it's not the only way. It's not the right way, but this is our way. And you're free to figure out your own ways if you are, if you're interested in transforming your own life as well. I love it.
Yes, we all unique, and everybody we learn in different ways. Some people are more visual, some people are more auditory, some people are more tactile. We learn in different ways, and not everybody's going to be teacher for everybody. You have to get the teacher that is for you. And you're right, there is no ways, because if we say my way is the only way, that's very judgmental, and that breaks down of we're trying to get out of the duality. Well, we have to remove the judgment from there. So my way is not the only way, and no way of everybody is the only way. Everybody has even their unique way. This is just the tip of the iceberg, but you have to actually carve it. You have to create the diamond in you.
I love that. Yeah, and when you talk about teachers too, I personally have been through that journey where, where I think everyone been through the journey that we only think of one teacher. Like, that one teacher is the amazing teacher, and I have to follow them on everything that they do. But, it is okay to have a few teachers, and it's okay to only follow the teachers for things you believe in and disagree with what you don't like, what is not aligned to you. Give yourself the permission to disagree with them, even though they are your teacher. I think that is something very important for others to realize too.
I am a self-taught artist, and I have take classes with many artists. Every time I saw an artist that have something to teach me, I asked them if they can teach me, and they did. So, and that have taught me never to stick to one teacher, because everybody has something to teach you if you're open. And not everybody's going to be your teacher, neither at the same time. So, and more that you change and not be a follower, because being follower just lost your authenticity. So it is very important not to be a follower. Create your own medicine. Maybe you're going to take techniques of everybody. That's why you were, that's what you were learning, but then create your own. And that's what is one of the things that is more important than anything.
It's creating your own, giving yourself permission to combine everything that you learn. I think that is so.
I used to do Reiki the traditional way, with a table and so forth. And I did it for many years until I got sick and I was needing to heal myself, and Reiki was not enough and I was dying. So I did not have an option. So actually reinvent myself. And when I did that time jumping, it opened me to another different possibilities. It really was a different kind of conscience that I got, that I was needing to understand that there were different things that I was needing to learn, that not everything was in one technique. So, and I was needing to go and dig more inside of myself. Where was my limitations? What were my beliefs? Where was my obsolete programs? So I can change myself. And that actually took me to many teachers. And I adore my teachers. I have many good teachers, and sometimes some of them I still contact them. Hey, I don't know, how is this gonna go, or I received this message. And it's important to bounce out with people that are talking your same language sometimes. And who is the best? They can be your teachers, and teachers become your best friends sometimes. And that relationship, it should continue, because at the end we're all family, we're all one.
Yeah. When you talk about Reiki, because I think we are on a different, like I'm more active on Twitter, and hence on Reiki, I keep seeing people like trying to make everything into Reiki these days. Like, even though they're practicing their own healing, they'll be like, oh, I'm practicing Reiki. And I just feel like there is this limitation. Like, why are you trying to limit your own ways as Reiki? Like, you discover your own ways. Like, why are you branding it as Reiki? That kind of thing.
My point of view on that, because I mentioned that I used to do it traditional, and then I stopped after I learned all these techniques. I do Reiki, but not in the traditional way. I align, balance, and activate, and clear and clean all the chakras of the people, but not in the traditional way. I do it in the operative system. I call it like that. Because from there, from inside the conscious, for me, it was easier because I can see more stuff in there. It was contracts, vows, etc. That it was needing to remove, or all programs that it was needing to remove with the permission of the person. That's why it was not not in the traditional way of Reiki. And why Reiki became so famous? Because it was accepted by all the religions. It was all these techniques that were juju for long, long, long time. And you tell them, I'm to this day, you tell someone you're a channeler, like, oh my God, they still freak out. So, and they're afraid of you. But Reiki is accepted. Socially, is accepted. And that's why I call it, when the other day I was talking to some of my students and telling them that it was very hard for me coming out of the closet as a spiritual worker, as a channeler. And why? Because it is easier to say I'm a Reiki master, but it is more harder to say I'm a channeler. Why? Because the people will think, oh, first of all, you are hearing voices and you have to be crazy. And you have, and Reiki, not necessarily, even if they're channelers, that's the part they hide. And the Reiki is the one in front. When you start actually following your guides are going to take you to other bigger places, and they're going to transform your life if you let yourself guide. And they're going to show you there are more things than Reiki. And then you're going to start respecting that I'm saying, yes, I am a channeler too. And that's harder than saying I'm a Reiki master or Reiki, whatever.
Definitely feel that. When I started my own journey, is that I read tarot, I do Reiki, but it's easier to tell other people that I'm doing Reiki, I'm healing you, rather than I'm, doing tarot, because there is just this misconception about, tarot and channeler or mediumship or anything. There's just this misconception about it either being one, crazy, that you're hearing voices, as you mentioned, and two is that you are doing the devil's work, because tarot is not exactly the good thing, or mediumship, that like you're seeing ghosts, like, oh my god, please don't see ghosts around me. Yeah.
Yes,
So there's a lot of that. Yeah.
People has too many fears, and they fear whatever they don't understand or something new. And a lot of the fears that are old programs installed in them, and it comes from religion. The majority of the fears that the human beings are. When people ask me what is my main job that I do with a lot of my clients, like removing programs of religious beliefs. That's the main one that I do. Why? Because that's where the fears are located, and that's how you're controlled. And if they're ready to let go of those fears, they can transform their life so easy and actually heal themselves, because a lot of the sickness, they come from there, from fear and not loving themselves enough. And you help those two, you transform the life of anyone.
Yeah, fears kind of like keep us from looking deeper. And sometimes I do feel that it's not just religion, but I mean, Hollywood is influenced by religion as well, most likely. But a lot of Hollywood, they're also spreading a lot of fear, like how many horror story you see is related to people tapping into spirituality or occult, and they got bad things happen to them. So there is the programming going on there. That is always what I'm talking to my clients, my own. I'll be like, you know what? If you want to deprogram yourself, first off, stop watching horror movies. That would be me. I'm like,
And I will say the news. It's not that I don't want to know what is going around. Obviously, I know what is around me. I know what is happening in the world, but I don't watch the news. It's the same as seeing a horror movie. Why? Because everything is going to become in front of you, whatever you believe it is. And if you're going to believe that the world is in chaos and is going to be destroyed, that's the possibility. And unfortunately, we're connected to a collective because we're in the third dimension. And if the majority of the collective is in that fear that is chaos and so forth, I don't want to be in that world, honestly. I prefer to help, but you can't change the collective from outside. You have to change it from inside. And that's why it's important right now to do that, start teaching people, and you also change yourself. So that's why I don't watch horror movies. I don't hear music that it doesn't sound fine with my soul. And I don't watch news. Anything that is, it's not that I was always like this. No, I was not like this always. I used to be even an activist. I used to be in protest. I used to be in all that, but that's why it took me to this conscience that I was not going to change the world fighting again in a bench or being an activist. The only way actually I can transform the world, it was actually calming myself, being an example, and teaching others how to remove the fear. That was the only way, because that's why it's all this chaos that we have. I'm not saying that the world is perfect and removing the fear is going to be fixed right away. No, but we can start changing our conscience, and that's the beginning of a big change.
well, there is this part about you mentioned about how fighting against the world, and I'm seeing that a lot, like literally a lot. Okay, everywhere, like not just in the world, not just about protests, but also on social media or any website that people can have a voice, and they will start, putting their opinion here. Like, this is the right opinion. Like, you are wrong. Like, I'm right. So there is this part about, I'm always seeing that, and I'm like, there is no way that you can convince someone else with their belief that your belief is more right than them. So instead of doing that, sometimes it's like thinking back, like, instead of doing that, why don't we just, like, live our truth? By all means, live your truth. Amazing. Live it the loudest, brightest you can be. Okay. But don't put your truth on other person and force them to believe in your belief structure, because it never works. Like, imagine that would be like pulling the bull when the bull is like sitting down and I do not want to work.
I totally agree with you in that one too. Unfortunately, something in my path when I was waking up, I believe we have many awakes. And the last one that I got when I did that time jumping and I wake up in the conspiracy theory. And I was very into that. And until I start realizing that I was another rabbit hole, that if I get stuck in there, I was going to get stuck in there and I was going to do my personal journey and I was not going to heal myself. So when I step out and I start being the observer of that, that's when actually I start changing myself. And that's when I start understanding that there's a bigger picture, more bigger than all the rabbit holes that exist. That is love and understanding and cooperation. And if with a collective, we can make it actually to achieve that. Now we can change the real world. And why want to put fear in all the things that are happening? I'm not denying them that they're happening or not. But if I focus my attention in that, that is what is going to grow more. Because wherever we put our attention is what it grows. So I'm not focusing in that. And I'm teaching my students not to focus on that, because whatever you put your attention is where it's going to grow.
When you focus on something, it just expands, because it's the same as we are doing real life job. If you're focusing on something that is all is in front of us, it becomes bigger than life. So zoom out, take a step back, take a breathe. I think that will help a lot of people. It's like, before we react or jump into something, take a breath and, like, is this for me? Is this really helpful for my journey ahead? And I'm really loving to hear that you are doing that, like you have been doing that, and you are living a sample of that. And that's so beautiful.
But I have to walk the talk. And not all the time is so easy. I'm not going to say that it's easy, no, because you have emotions. You're human. You're still having a human experience. So you're going to go sad and you're going to fall and break a foot, or you're going to pass through different emotions too, because you're still human and you're still learning. But the point is, every time you do a mistake, is to observe, oh, okay, I know what I did wrong. I'm going to try not to repeat that one. And try not to. And if you do, forgive yourself for doing it and try not to repeat that one. It should not be judgment, like, for anyone and not for ourselves. We do mistakes because we still have the human experience. And that's why we came here.
Exactly. Just this morning, I was talking about, actually, I started just looking up at videos, and I'm seeing one of the professional who is like hairstylist, and he made a mistake, and everyone in the comment are like, out on the wall towards him, like, he made a mistake. Like, how can a professional make a mistake? But if you take a step back and look at him, and he's just a human, and he's just doing the best he can with what he know and what he understand. And sometimes the situation would just turn out differently than what he expected. Doesn't mean that he purposely wants to harm your hair, or purposely want to harm you. Like, he does it out of goodness of his heart, but it turned out badly. It happens. So I think a lot of people are very quick on being the judge and jury of other people's journey. Like, they look at something and action, and they're quick to, like, jump into that and, like, you're wrong. That is a big one. Like, you're wrong. I'm like, but you don't know whether in their mind they are right, they are doing the right thing.
The thing is our ego. It is sometimes when we judge, it's because we actually feel superior to someone else, or we're projecting ourselves. And we want to think that we never do mistakes, and that's why they're judging this poor man. Or simply they're projecting from a mistake that they have done, and of course those things they're saying to him, there are things that they're saying to themselves, or they wish they have said to themselves. So that's why they're projecting all that, the mistake that they have done that doesn't have to do with the other person at all. It has to do actually with themselves. That's why people judge. That's why people judge us, and that's why we judge too. And if we become aware when we're doing it, we can stop. But if we're not aware, we're gonna continue doing it and eternally until we decide to stop.
Yeah, because also another thing is what we judge other. I find is like life is a boomerang. So if I say that, you are this, the bad negative thing, and that will boomerang back to poof, and there we are. I am that.
Yes. Yes, we pay for it, and I have seen it so many times that every time when life wants to show you something, it will come into your attention. If we try to hide our emotions, sooner or later they're gonna come out, and you have to affront them. And it doesn't matter how many times you push them; they're gonna come out until you affront them. And so it's better to work them. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be probably horrible, but more that you faster you overpass them and you actually accept it is depression, it is sadness, it is anger, it is envy, it is whatever emotion you're passing, and actually you can observe it easier. More easy is to let it pass. But if you don't observe it and you don't think, oh, where this is coming from? Oh, from my childhood. I remember when I was a little girl and it was this happening and so on. So a lot of times comes from there. And in that moment, did you release the other little boy that took your lollipop? You're not gonna have problems with red lollipops now and as an adult. Because you went back there and you forgive the little boy. Sometimes, a lot of times, is very complicated stuff, or sometimes are very simple, like the lollipop example.
Yeah, exactly. And I love how it all ties down to coming back to, personal responsibility, like your emotion, your judgment is really, stem from you. It's not the other person's fault. It's, you are witnessing the other person's action via your own lens, and your lens can be tinted.
Yes, yeah, that's a biggie one, because people likes to manipulate and control others through using the poor me. Why? Because it has worked for generations. Come on, it's so simple. They and stop doing it. They have to do something different, and they don't know how to control someone else without manipulating them. Then they try to inject fear, and that's where the narcissist terms comes a lot. They try to inject fear and so forth. Why? Because it's just about controlling others. When you become responsible of your own actions and your own thoughts and emotions and reactions and all of your choices, you realize that, oh, yeah, okay, I really did a wrong mistake, a wrong turn here. But I have to forgive myself for doing it, learn from that mistake so it don't repeat again, and continue my path. But if you don't do it, it's just a mistake that is going to be haunting you and haunting you and haunting you until you actually do the work. You can bypass it.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter with how many healers they go. They can bypass it until they affront that. That's where it comes the dark night of the soul term, that you have to pass through that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. As you're talking, it reminds me of how my work life, my career life actually started with a lot of poor me. I was there as well. It's like because of the work is bad, because of the bosses are bad, because of the colleagues are bad, and I just want to stop working at this job. Okay, there is a million thousand reasons that why I can't work in that environment.
Yeah.
And eventually I got to one of the job that I signed for 2 years contract, and I can't break that. I know that if I break that, I have to pay a amount of money. At first, I was still back in that for me. I haven't break it out. And eventually I realized that, hey, I still have a choice. Even though I have signed the contract, I still can, all that it takes is just pay the money and I can move on to another job, or I can stay here and learn whatever lessons that I need to learn, and make sure that the lessons, after I learn them, they're not going to come back, or, that will make me stronger, that next time when it comes to me, I know how to solve it, So yeah, I really agree with that. Like, the poor me, like I have no choice. I always tell my clients as well, it's like, you always have a choice, even though at the toughest situation, you have a choice. But your choices might not be great, but you still have a choice to stay or to go, to do this, face this properly or escape it. You have a choice. We all do.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And to accept that sometimes the choices that we're having is because there are lessons to learn there. In the moment you learn what was the lesson from that terrible situation that you are, that's when you actually can let go that choice and another door will open. But if you don't understand why you're there and, oh my God, I have to deal with this boss. Oh my God, I have to deal with this husband or whatever situation that you are in. You have to, you don't understand why you're in that, why you chose that husband, why you chose that job. And then when you go deeper, it's like you're going to find your why you chose that job or that husband or what that situation you're in. That's when you're going to realize, oh, I was needing to learn this, or I learned this and this and this and this. So more easy, that person or that job is going to be removed from your way because you already had the lesson. Planet Earth is a school that we were all decide to come here to learn our lessons, and we sign up for different lessons. And there's some lessons that are horrible that I don't. That every time I see them, people like, híjoles, and feel so sorry for them because they chose that lesson. I just send them love and light because they have to realize they are in it, so they have to come out. If someone comes and actually rescue you, you're just gonna find another place to go and have the same experience. So it is easy. That's why it's easy to teach them how they can get out of that situation, but they have to do it themselves. We can get them out of that hole.
Exactly. Back to like you can't pull a bull who doesn't want to move. Like if you pull them, when they don't want to move, they will go back to the same place and they will sit there. They'll be like, I don't want to move. Yeah. And humans has a free will, and yeah, it's like that free will is our superpower. But a lot of time we just feel like we have to give the free will away because that's how we thought, and hence that comes to poor me mindset. Like
that one, I have encounters emotions with the free will, because I do hear many teachers that I actually like to hear, like Cristina Lopez, etc. There are several that I like to hear, and they say that they ask to their guides, "You choose for me. You know what is my best path." And I understand why they're doing it, but at the same time, it's like there's always an agenda, including in the beings of light. I'm not saying that they're bad or they're good. I'm putting neutral in here. But I understand that there is also a karma that is also, that's why they're here helping us, or else they will not be so much interested in this. So there's an interest in there, except for our higher self. Is the only one who has our best interest because it's us.
yeah.
So I tend to listen more my higher self than all the guides that come, because I know there's a private agenda. It doesn't matter who it is, except God, of course, but but any other being have a private agenda. What do you want from me in reality? Because tell me what is the private agenda behind. So then I can choose if I want to work with you or I don't. So because that's my choice, my free will. But I do prefer to be guided by my higher self in that way. So that's why I say there's I hear many teachers that I do like their teachings. They're really, really good, but I differ. I differ. And always ask yourself, is this sounds right? Even if you're talking with your guides or you're hearing for teachers, is this sounds right with me? Because it might be sounds perfect for that person or that guide or that being, but that maybe that's not the correct for you. So always ask yourself, your body, your higher self, ask them if this is the best thing for you before you give that step.
Yeah, definitely. The same, what was I going to say? I kind of lost my thoughts. Yeah, I'm the same. I resonate with you. After a while of following guides around, I I tend to follow my higher self right now because it's just like they are us and they're literally been with us like from the moment we are born, like our consciousness were born up till now, and all they want is for us to evolve to become the highest and best version of us. So I can see that, if that is the agenda, I think I will accept that because, who doesn't want to be the best version of us? While the guides and yeah, all the guides, all the even angels, but angels they don't really have free will. So that's why I understand that they were just here to help us because they have to. Yeah, but the guides they always have their own thing that they want to achieve. Like they are helping us for something like they want. I can get that a lot. What was I going to say?
Like today, I wrote what it was what it was the difference between unconditional love and conditional love.
Mm.
Conditional love is when you're expecting someone to do something for you, when someone to do or love you or something for you. And unconditional love is you're not expecting nothing from the other person. You just love, And so always ask yourself when you receive any guide. That's how you know with what kind of energy they're working. It's like if they're loving you with unconditional love or what do they want from you. It is a simple question that you can ask, and your body entirely is gonna feel it. So that's why I always ask, okay, what do you want from me? Oh, you don't want nothing, you just want to love me. I am here. That's why I'm here. But you want something from me, show it to me. And I would choose if I want to or I don't want to.
Yeah, as you're talking, I remember a lot of people are very afraid to ask themselves the question, like be daring to answer for themselves the questions, like as you're mentioning about, okay, what is the best path in front of me? Like, what is the next choice for me? What is the best serve for me? Instead, like a lot of people like to put this choice to God, to their guides, to anyone, to the teacher who can answer for them. And they're very afraid of, making the choice themselves. But if we take a step back and make the choice for ourselves, I think that is really the first step to change for the rest of your life.
Yes. The thing is, people are afraid to make choices because they haven't forget about the choices that they have done wrong. We have all done wrong choices. I would not be who I am if I have not commit thousands or millions of wrong choices that I learned from all of them. That were too many, and that's why. But I have forgiven myself for those wrong choices that I have done. If I did not forgive myself and know who I am now, I will be afraid to actually someone choose for me, please. And that's a biggie that we have right now with the women. The women are so afraid because that's the program. Someone has to choose for you. Someone has to tell you how to live your life, how to think, how to act, how to dress, with who to talk, with who to marry, how many kids are, and continue the list. And but that's why it's important because we are being teachers of our sons. And if we want to really create a new world, we need to teach them how to respect the choices of a woman. Because or else we're going to continue having the same thing. And if we don't like it right now, it's not going to change. So right now, that's when we have to change. We have to do something and make ourselves respect. If we don't love ourselves, we're gonna, if any person comes to us and you're single and any person comes to you and they're not respecting you, they're not honoring you, and you're gonna accept them because you are afraid to be alone.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily if you're respecting yourself. You need to work first with your self-love. So then you can find, or I prefer to be alone than to be with someone that is going to try to control me, tell me what to think or how to be or what to say or what to believe. I prefer to be doing that, but I am not afraid to be alone anymore. I used to. I've been married 4 times. I was talking about my choices. I've been married 4 times. And that's why I don't have to stay where I don't like. Now I understand that that's part of my choice and not to settle. If you know how much you're worth, you don't have to settle for less. You need to honor and love yourself. And that's why people are afraid to make wrong choices because they don't know how much they're worth yet. Yet because they can change it in the moment they decide to.
I love the way that you're presenting and like all the wisdom that you have. It just blowing my mind right now. I'm definitely going to rewatch the live and like, oh my god, this is so good. Yeah,
Probably I'm channeling too a lot of the. I can feel myself that in moments I come and in and out, and it's my higher self talking through me.
wow, I love that. I love that. We all love when divine wisdom is coming in and you're channeling, and it's amazing. Yeah, and you're talking about how women are changing right now. Like this is the time where we are waking up and we're changing and taking our powers back. And at the same time, that doesn't mean that we are disempowering the men, because as we are taking our powers back, the men start to see that they also have the power that they can take back. Because for longest time, I'm seeing like, how the world has made men into warriors, protector, and they always have to be strong, and they can't feel their emotions because whenever they do, they are not strong. While the woman is being seen as the nurturer, that we all being put as a role. We have to play the nurturer and we have to be, raising the kids at home and this and that and that and that and go on the list for both.
But we're not doing completely our job in the moment we're not supporting our men to cry and to have emotions. Why we're judging them when they're crying or they're feeling an emotion? And then they're not going to feel free actually to do it. It's very hard for them because they have that program that they can use their emotions, the heart, and they already, it's hard for them to break free from that. And if the woman is actually judging them because they're crying or they're talking about their emotions, then this also again our fault. This our blessing and our fault at the same time. But if we can see, we can change it, because then we can help them. We can help them how to have emotions and then know that it's okay to feel emotions, as also it's okay that woman can think. Those two is important too. Both sides understand that woman has brains and men has emotions, because we all have heart and brain.
Exactly. Like we are all I think you follow Jason. So I like to put him like we are all everything. We are our infinite self. Why are we putting labels on ourselves and limiting ourselves to that one thing? We are not like not say I'm not Paige the woman. I'm not Paige the healer. I'm Paige. I'm everything. I love his description on this. Like, why are we limiting ourselves? Like labels are just limitations that we put around ourselves. I will call that sometimes false light, that we have to present ourselves in this light now because we have take on the label. Yeah.
Yes. And unfortunately, as human beings, so they can understand people, they need to put everything in squares. That's why everybody told you when you start channeling, ask them your name, ask them their name. because humans, we need a name. They don't need name. We know them by vibration. In reality, we don't need their name, because when they come, and they come very often, all our lives, sometimes you can feel the vibration and the energy, and you recognize it. So, but we still, our human part is like, what is your name? Tell me your name. And we insist, or what is the hierarchy? And hierarchies also is very human. They don't need hierarchies. They are not in competition, who's more, who's less. Humans are the ones that put those things. So yeah, because we can understand how powerful or how less powerful is one person. But again, we go to the judgment part, and you remove and get into the neutral. You don't need to have any square, and you don't get affected by what other people will think and want to put you in a square. You don't need to. But unfortunately, so people understand what do we do. We have to put, okay, I am this and this and this coach. So like that, people say, oh, she can help me in this, or she can help me in that. But at the same time, it's putting us in a square again. It's following again in the trap.
All the boxes.
Yes.
But yeah, I think we are moving forward, breaking the boxes, and I'm excited to see more and more people breaking out of their, you know, what my Akashic records I practice with them, and they're always like for them, like, they are titled cage. Those titles are cages, and you have to break out them. Because the more you put your titles over here, you're just caging yourself in. You have to just be this. And I'm like, that makes sense. Yep, I'm trying. I'm working on it.
Like I came to understand through my guides and my higher self. The human beings are so powerful, and they do not understand how powerful they are. Why? Because let's talk about contracts and vows, and that we have. We can break them in the moment we choose to. If we can see it, we can break it, we can transform it. If you don't see it, you don't see it. But you don't have to actually, if you feel that you need an angel or a guide or a healer or this and that, so they can break them for you, okay. But I just wanted to make it so everybody remember, you can do it without the guide, without the healer, without the coach, without anybody. You can do it yourself. If you see it, you can break. If you don't see it, that is going to be hard to break.
Yeah. And everyone can see it eventually. Is they just have to take the time to go inwards and ask themselves, like, what contract do I have? What programming am I holding? Like self-work, you can't just escape self-work. You can't just, ask someone else to do the self-work for you, because that never works. We have tried for, I think, many decades. We have been following gurus and healers and asking them, like, heal me. And in the end, we still have to heal ourselves, because they don't have the power. Like you say, they don't have the magic wand.
Yes. No one
We
has.
only with ourselves, I think. What I'm saying is, like, we only have the magic wand, but it only work for ourselves. It doesn't work for others.
Exactly. We can't change how other people think. We can't change, even if we wish to, it is our kid or something, we can't change it. They have to get to their own conclusions. And sometimes it's painful, because you love the person and you see them suffering, or they're your kids, or you don't want to suffer. And you just have to send them love and light. And that is very hard. That is, I believe that's one of the hardest parts. It's easy to transform myself, but seeing someone suffering that I love, that is the hardest part.
I can see that. I don't have kids yet, but I have friends who have been going through their own, their own dark night of the soul. They have been realizing things, and they have to recover from themselves. At first, I felt that I need to jump in and help them along as well. But is that the moment I do that, they are actually going through things in a much harder way. Because it's not to say my guidance is not good, I will have to say, but maybe it's not for them at that moment. Like whatever we say from an understanding point of view, no matter how good it is, no matter how enlightened it is, if the person is not ready to accept that, they're not going to accept that. They're just going to say that you are, bypassing the pain, you are making their pain less, all kind of fun stuff. Like, yeah.
Oh gosh, this took me to a memory. I remember when I used to think that I have to give my advice to everybody. And I came to understand that advice that is not asked for is going to be bad received. So just that's why sometimes I just observe and see in many groups, and it's like, no, I'm not going to answer. Why? Because I'm not helping. They're not asking for help. They're doing their own thing. If they ask for help, and if I can help them, good. But I am not going to give that advice when it's not asked for, because otherwise it might sound like arrogant. It might sound like I might trigger some things, and it is cool if I trigger some things if they know how to deal with them. you know if they know how to deal with that. Sometimes many people are they get triggered, they trigger us, or they trigger, or we trigger some people, and if you know how to deal with the triggers, like, oh, this triggered me, okay, let me work with this, then that is very good. But if you're not conscious of yourself and responsible yourself, you're going to get triggered more easy, and you don't know what to do with that. So that's the persons I don't give advice unless they ask me.
Learning that as well. Like, as I mentioned, I'm learning that because I've been through it, and all kind of fun stuff start to come up, and like, wow. Sometimes you have to learn through experience. I do keep on telling my clients as well, like, experience is the greatest teacher. Like, I can tell you every single thing that I experienced and been through and all the story, but at the end of the day, they are my personal story. Your experience can teach you something else, maybe something even better. And one of the day you can tell me your story and I can learn from it too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's why I started Soul Talk, because I wanted to learn more. I'm always in the search of learning more and expanding myself, and talking with people that they're interesting to talk with, and so you learn more. And so that's why I believe I'm here. That's part of my mission, and continue expanding and learning. And at the same time, you're healing yourself because you get to new understandings at the same time.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear more of your story and more of everyone's you interview. Like, yeah, it's amazing. Like, I simply just love listening to people with experience talk, like what their experience are, because experience really taught me a lot. Like, even though it's not from myself, I'm just looking at other people going through it, it still taught me a lesson or two and helped me to understand something. There's always a takeaway from that, and I really love it.
And you learn from everything. You learn from not only from human beings. You learn from the pets, from the insects, from the wind, from the fire. You learn from every single experience if you're putting attention. If you're not putting attention, it doesn't matter that Buddha comes and talk to you. You're not gonna get it because you're not ready to hear.
Being conscious, being present. If you're not, regardless, like who is coming to you, talking to you, it would just, what our parents like to say is like going in from one ear and then going out in the other. It's just like, ooh, ooh, there you go. No one is listening.
Yes. And when you finally understand that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that goes to all the levels in all the ways, in a way. It doesn't matter what you're asking for. If you're ready, you will find the teacher, and everybody will find the teacher. Yes.
I love that. Yeah. So Monica, do you have any what other things you want to add for today's? Yeah.
Well,
Like,
I'm going to be teaching a class. I'm going to have a challenge where I'm going to be talking about the beliefs and the judgments and so forth. And it's going to be for 3 days. It's free. And in English, it's going to be the 28, 29, and 30. And that is going to be, it's going to on April. And hopefully I'm inviting everybody to come. It is totally free. And talking about beliefs and judgments and so all this kind of stuff, the goody stuff.
I'm definitely going to go and go to join it. Is it on your website or on your Facebook or?
Yes, it's a level up, because I'm always looking for the next level. So that's why I name it Level Up. And yes, it's in Monica Ramirez Warrior of Love, or also you can find it in my wall. And yes, it's in there, the challenge.
Looking forward to play with you there. Yeah, so thank you so much, Monica, for joining me on a live today and allowing me to do this. I'm really new at starting live, as you see, especially interviewing live, and it is very fun. I'm looking forward to do more, and if there's future opportunity, please feel free to connect again, and we can go on live and chat about various, not just lesson, but various perspective that we have. I think is very helpful for everyone. Like, helpful for those who are seeking to learn more. Yes.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and hope to, we'll see you in June in Soul Talk too.
We're looking forward to that as well.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for today. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I see you soon.
Yes, see you.